If you're building your coaching business and you're feeling frustrated with the lack of perfect consistency that you're able to achieve when it comes to showing up for your business, then this episode is for you, because this is one of the most common frustrations I hear from my clients. I feel, and there's different ways to approach consistency in your business so that the lack of it doesn't stop you from making progress. So if that's you, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Life First Coaching Business podcast, where ambitious, purpose-led coaches trade hustle and burnout for simplicity, freedom, and clients who light them up. I'm Leonie, ex-architect and business owner turned business coach. I'm also a mama, a foodie, and a travel lover, and just a little bit obsessed with online business strategy. If you're craving a business that feels spacious, joyful, and actually fun, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll be diving into the strategies, the systems, and the mindset you need to make your coaching business work for you. So let's dive in. Hello, welcome to today's episode. As I said, I'm going to be talking about consistency today because I know it's something that everyone feels the pressure to have in their business, but particularly as women in a certain stage of life who are juggling so many things, perfect consistency is just completely unrealistic. I think it's completely unrealistic for anyone, but particularly for the types of clients I work with. There's so much going on in life, and that is why we talk about life first business. That's why I always talk about a life first business, because I want you to be able to create businesses that can still work when life is lifing, and that you can still make progress and find it sustainable to run your business when life is lifing. So the one thing I'm going to talk about today is how consistency is something that creates traction in your coaching business, and you do need a certain amount of consistency. The pressure to have flawless perfection when it comes to your rhythms in your business can mean that you keep starting strong, then something happens, life lives, you get sick, your child is sick, something shows up, you lose momentum, and then you end up spiraling into self-doubt because you're telling yourself that you haven't had perfect consistency. When you can shift how you define consistency, it becomes not only possible to have more of it, but it's freeing as well, and it can allow you to have much more progress in your business by getting rid of the idea of perfection and seeing things in a different way. So the number one thing I want you to do when it comes to thinking about consistency in your business is to completely get rid of the notion that it has to be perfect, and the myth that consistency is about daily posting or flawless habits. It's actually much more about persistence. It's about coming back again and again, even after the dips, and recognizing that, of course, there will be dips. And the quicker you can get back on the horse, then the sooner you'll be able to make progress. Just think of it in the same way as going to the gym. Just because you've missed one or two workouts or you've got sick for a couple of weeks, it doesn't cancel out all the benefits of all the workouts you've done on the lead up to that. Yes, you might have a couple of workouts where you've got to get back into the swing of it again, and it can feel really frustrating. But the frustration really just comes from telling ourselves that it could have been perfect. Whereas if you're not expecting perfection and you're expecting these dips where you have to do a bit of catching up with yourself and getting yourself back in the game again and getting yourself back to where you were, that's just the normal rhythm of things, then you can get back on the horse so much more quickly, and you can build that persistence and that consistency over time, because it's definitely not about complete perfect rhythms. It's about continuation. It's about continuing to show up, and it's much more about consistency in things like your message, in the way that you show up, than necessarily, you've posted on Monday, you've posted on Wednesday, you've posted on Friday, whatever it is. Of course, we all tell ourselves, like, this is what I'm aiming for, to do these certain things every week or every month or every day. And if that doesn't happen, it doesn't necessarily mean we're not still doing a good job, that we're not still getting through to the right people. And of course, ideally, in a perfect world, yes, you could have that level of consistency. But if you put that expectation on yourself, I think you're just setting yourself up to fail. So first of all, get rid of the perfection. See it much more as persistence, coming back again. Expect those dips, expect life to life. Don't get too frustrated with, having to get back in the game again, and just keep going. And that is the key to seeing the fastest momentum in your business. not expecting perfection. And the second thing you can do is to focus on less, not more. Overcomplication is the biggest killer of consistency, because when it feels overwhelming, it's so hard to get yourself to continue with that momentum. And you might manage it at first for a week or two, but then it's just going to be really difficult to maintain if you're putting too much on your plate. Whereas if you can keep things really simple, give yourself less to do, but do those things more consistently and more thoroughly. One, it allows you to get better at that thing all the time. So let's say, for instance, you're thinking about different platforms where you might be showing up to get visible for your coaching business. If you were trying to do all of them, obviously that's going to spread you really thin. And even when people say, oh, just share the same content on different platforms, that's still extra work for yourself. And have different things that work and things that don't. So I believe it's much better to just focus on one and do it much better and be able to focus in on the data and look at how things are going so that you can improve all the time and you can learn how to do that one thing better and better, rather than spreading yourself so thin, not really understanding what's working, what's not, and just getting stuck into this idea of doing more. So definitely simplify, take out any overcomplication, and focus on doing less, but doing it with more consistency, still expecting those dips. But that's going to be your best chance of consistency, because you're going to remove that overwhelm and make things feel much more doable and sustainable. And then the third thing is to take away the pressure of certain timelines for yourself. I think there's so much noise online about achieving certain things in such a short space of time. And that can set you up for failure. And, I'm really conscious that I don't want to feed into that kind of narrative. I will always say that, yes, I 100% believe that if you stick to a plan and you get support with that plan, you can make progress so much more quickly. So, for instance, with me helping my clients to create their signature offer, I 100% know that can be done within 8 weeks, which is the framework I've created for my clients. But I also am clear on the fact that you've got to keep showing up. You've got to keep talking about that offer and getting that offer out there, talking about it, marketing it and selling it. And that's when things can really start to work. And then, of course, there'll always be refinement that's necessary. You're going to be looking at what's working, tweaking, evolving. There's no kind of end point like this is done now, it's never going to change. There's always going to be evolution going on. And that's why I offer 12 months of support with my program, so that my clients can do that upfront bit in the roadmap that's set out, but then still get that support as things are evolving. And I think that's another point, is when you are joining a program where you've got support, is to use it. Even if you don't feel like you've achieved much since the last call, just showing up and staying consistent with that can really help you. Again, if you've fallen off the wagon for some point, if life has lifed and you felt like, I don't really want to show up because I haven't really achieved anything, just showing up is achieving something, because it helps you just get back into that frame of mind again. It helps you stay on the horse as such. Take away the pressure of that timeline. Understand that most things that are worth building take time to build and take time to refine and take time to grow. And that's where you want to have that consistency of showing up and talking about something in a way that it starts to cement with your audience. So rather than flitting and kind of talking about lots of different things or being a bit more vague with your messaging, really dialing that in, getting clear on it. And then you can have that consistency in your message, even if you have a week where you've gotten sick and you haven't shown up, or even if you've been away on holiday and you haven't managed to show up. When you do show up, if you're repeating the same message again and again, and you're making those regular invitations into your offer, and there's consistency in that, it will all start to snowball. It's inevitable if you keep showing up and you're always looking for the signs of how you can tweak it and improve it and refine it. Your success is inevitable as long as you keep showing up. So I hope that gives you a bit of a reframe around consistency, because it is something I hear coming up time and time again. And I always feel that we put too much pressure on ourselves. Again, as women, we're often putting too much pressure on ourselves. We're juggling so much. Not to say that men aren't also juggling a lot, but I think there's often quite a lot of mental load on women, and we tend to be perfectionists as well. So those things can really trip us up in business. And with that reframe, I think it can really help you to just see things in a different way. And that can help you with that new version of what consistency looks like. So if this has been helpful, please leave a little rating and review or share it with someone else who you know needs to hear this message today. I also want to tell you about something exciting. I have just relaunched my freebie, my lead magnet. It was the client attraction blueprint. It's just relaunched as the Spacious Business Blueprint. I've made some updates to it, and I'm really excited about this because I think things are evolving a lot at the moment in the online business space, and I believe strongly in this idea of simplicity. So I've simplified this and I have updated the training that goes with it. So if you haven't already downloaded that blueprint, head to the link in the show notes and get your hands on the new version. It really maps out the whole vision on one page of what your spacious coaching business can look like. If you're already on my list, then you've probably, in the last few days, if you're listening to this in real time, had an email telling you about the relaunch of the freebie. So give that a look. Let me know any takeaways from it. I'd love to get your feedback, and I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you again next week. Take care.